Hello, everybody. Adrian Plass here. Bridget and I have been in a sort of voluntary self-isolation for about 10 days now. And it may seem a little odd, but it was only 2 or 3 days ago that we thought perhaps we ought to start having a look at the Bible or something and get some sort of pattern going in the way we think about what's happening at the moment. So what we were really hoping for was something quite positive and uplifting. So we got a book of prayers that were all set out with readings and things. And the very first thing we came to was Psalm 22, which, as many of you will know, begins with those words spoken by Jesus from the cross: my God, why have you forsaken me? Well, that cheered us up for a start. And then we moved on to the actual little bit of the psalm we were supposed to read. And I'll read this bit to you, and you will see why things began to look even more dismal. This reads, this is 14 to 16. I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax, it is melted within my breast. My mouth is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue sticks to my jaws. You lay me in the dust of death. Well, as happens with an awful lot of psalms, as you know, you really can begin to lose the will to live when you reach the end of passages like that. Psalm 88 ends with the words, I think darkness is my only friend. So there we were looking at these really rather dismal bits of reading, and you're supposed to love the Bible and think it's wonderful and lifts you up. And we were wondering, what will we find in this? Well, it was quite interesting in the end, because we looked at the first verse of the psalm, the one I mentioned, my God, why have you forsaken me? And it occurred to me that I've already reflected in the past on the fact that those who really want God, whatever, you eventually, all of us come to a fork in the road, and we must decide which way we're going to go. Those who really want God for reasons that aren't even perfectly clear to them will at some point undoubtedly say, my God, why have you forsaken me? Because it is part of the sacrificial walk that Jesus modeled for us. And that doesn't actually lift us to a very high point of joy and singing choruses, but what it does do is say, just hang on, hang in, hold your nerve, because the other side of those experiences, there really can be something quite different. The other point about the other bit of the psalm, which really is quite depressing, is that at the moment, for a lot of people, that is true. Those feelings poured out like water, bones out of joint, heart like wax. And I know that in the middle of the night, many of you, like us, will suddenly wake up and think, what on earth is going on? The thing that the Psalms have in common, which perhaps is worth noting, is that they are all addressed to God. In other words, however low people get and how dark it feels and however rotten it is, they're actually talking to God about it. And I think, if possible, we do need to go on doing that, and that requires honesty and straightforwardness in the way that we talk to God about it. And that's not always easy, because we've been taught to edit the way we talk to God quite heavily. Well, some of us have anyway. I certainly was when I was younger. But actually, letting it out is good for you on all levels. And I'm sure God himself would say, tell it how it is. Tell me how you feel. Tell me what's worrying you. Tell me what's making you frightened. So we can have a go at that, and we can just hold on to that fact that feeling forsaken is not a black mark. It's not a failure. It is a punctuation mark. It is a stage in the journey that we are absolutely going to encounter, whatever we may think. Over the next few weeks, our ambition, our aim, whether we'll manage to do it or not, I'm not sure. Bridget and I, every day, if we can do it, I don't know if we can do it, we'll try to meet you and have a chat and read some bits and pieces and have a couple of laughs and share bits of darkness as well, if those are the things that crop up. and just see how we get on, really. And I really hope you will find it helpful to join us for that. I just want to read you a very silly little poem which I wrote a long time ago. Um, it's called When in Doubt. Though Moses, Micah, Obadiah, Habakkuk, and Ruth teach us how to live our lives in wisdom and in truth, there is one voice whose clear command you must obey or rue it. The mighty prophet Nike teaches, when in doubt, just do it. Now, some people are going to immediately say, why are you mentioning Nike instead of God? Well, actually, the only point I'm making is that all through my Christian life, there have been moments when those words, just do it, are what have saved me from not doing it. And so I find them very valuable. And we often quote Winston Churchill, who said something like, sometimes it's not enough to do your best, you have to do what is required. And that is tough sometimes. We want to be helpful and useful, but we don't want to mask any of the truth about this situation we're all living through. So I hope you will join us. You can access us here on the website, hopefully every day. I really hope you'll join us. And we're just going to just do it.